What's going on YouTube? So as you guys know, even as hot as crossovers are right now in the US, they are still no match for the sales figures that the big three pickup trucks produce. That's why we're spending the day with the latest 2020 version of the Chevy Silverado, this time in the LT Trail Boss configuration, which is one we didn't get to check out last year. Of course, we do want to take a moment to specially thank our friends at Sutherland Chevrolet in Nicholasville, Kentucky, for giving us access to this Silverado. And if you're in the market for any new Chevy, make sure you stop by their dealership or visit them via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with that all said, let's see if this version of the Silverado is the one to buy. So beginning things here on the outside, as always, the Trail Boss is going to stand apart from the other trims immediately. Now obviously the biggest change is that the entire front is rendered in a metallic black, both the grille and the bumper areas. As far as the grille itself, the LT Trail Boss uses the more traditional Chevy design before it's painted black, whereas if you go for the cheaper custom Trail Boss, it gets the version with Chevrolet spelt out across it. Just something to consider if you're cross-shopping the two. But continuing on with this LT Trail Boss, it comes with the full LED headlight arrangement that comes in 3 distinct sections. The turn signal is not LED, but the fog lights are. And while we're down here, I will mention that the Trail Boss has a 2-inch lift over the regular models, which brings the total ground clearance up to a very nice 10.8 inches. Now continuing around to the rest of the truck, the mirrors and door handles are finished in that same metallic black. And of course you do have Trail Boss brand. The back looks pretty similar to the other trims, with LED tail lights and dual exhaust tips, but the bumper is metallic black just like in the front. So overall, the Trail Boss certainly stands out as the most aggressively styled Silverado in the lineup. But I expect nothing less from something with the word boss in the name. Now turning our attention to the wheels, the Trail Boss offers 2 different options. These are the standard blacked out 18-inch alloys. However, for $800 you can get larger 20-inch alloys with the same spoke design, just with a brighter finish. Checking out the mirrors, they are power adjusting, heated, and we have the blind spot monitoring system, which is included in the safety package. And speaking of safety systems, the Trail Boss can only get safety package 1. So that does mean it will be missing out on forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, automatic high beam headlights, and the new adaptive cruise control system for 2020. Finally, the last 2 things to discuss are towing and the bed. For the former, we're looking at 9,300 pounds of capacity with this 5.3 liter V8 crew cab, since the max trailering package is not available here. The rating would be 100 pounds less with the 6.2 liter. And as far as the tailgate, it is remote releasing and easy lowering. And once it falls down, you can get in easily with the integrated bumper step. The bed itself is made from high-strength steel, and you have 12 different tie-downs, each rated for 500 pounds, LED lighting, and a household power outlet. Anyways guys, that's it for the exterior. So now let's check out the inside before taking it out for a drive. So on the Trail Boss Silverado, you do have Chevrolet's smart entry system, as well as their remote start system. And then walking up to the vehicle itself, there is no sensor behind the handle, so you just press the little silver button. Alright, so taking our first look inside the 2020 Trail Boss Silverado, What you'll notice is the cabin is pretty much the same as it is on the other trim levels. Now the interior does come with a couple different configurations. You do start out with the bench seating, however we have opted to have the bucket seats. And then you've got a couple different options. You have jet black or Gideon gray color schemes. The standard seat is cloth, however we have the optional leather. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is nicely appointed. We do have a soft touch armrest with a stitching detail, and it is soft touch above it as well. And we do have this kind of wood / carbon fiber looking trim. As far as your windows, the driver's is one touch auto up and down. The others are auto down. And then checking out these seats here, these are the 10-way power adjusting seats. These are also optional, and you'll come standard with a 4-way manual seat. Now as the Trail Boss, we're looking at a 2-inch lift. So this is a pretty tall truck. However, we do have a nice running board along the bottom here and a driver's side assist grip, so getting in is actually pretty easy. Now, of course, this is just 1 year removed from a full redesign, so you will notice all that stuff will carry over for 2020, including upgraded cabin materials. Now, across your upper dash here, you do have a hard touch plastic, but all through this area, you have a leatherette material. As far as down on the lower areas, we've got more of that trim, and then this stuff is hard touch. However, everything does fit together really well and feels very solid. Now, standard on the Trail Boss, you do have push button start. Now, taking a look at your gauges here, this is the analog setup. So you do have the gauges at the top as well as the 4.2-inch multifunction display. This does have all the same information as the fancier 7-inch display version that comes on the higher end trims. Then coming back to the steering wheel, it is nicely leather wrapped on all of the Trail Bosses, even the ones with cloth seating. However, on this specific one, we do have the optional heating. As far as the wheel itself, it is always manual, tilt, and telescoping. Now let's go ahead and talk about storage, since that is one of the main reasons you're going to get a truck that's this big. And Silverado is going to have you covered. So you've got this little area on top of the center console. Of course, the console itself, like every truck, is absolutely massive. You can fit just about anything in here. You do have a regular USB, a USB Type-C, and an aux jack inside. Up in front of that, you've got 2 big cup holders, and then you have another gigantic bin right through here. Storage along the side. Of course, you have storage in the doors, and you even have storage up here on the top. So you have storage pretty much everywhere. And one of the reasons that is true is because we have a column-mounted shifter. This, of course, is on every single Silverado. And you can shift manually with these little toggles if you want to. Of course, like all the other Silverados, the buttons that used to be down here on the end here, like your tow mode, those are relocated over here. So you've got your tow mode as well as your other drive modes with this knob, your 4-wheel drive controls right through here. You also have your headlight and bed lighting controls right there. Now turning into reverse here, of course you are going to have a standard backup camera. However, on this specific example, this is the optional HD version, which comes in the convenience package, so it's just going to look a little bit crisper. You do have your trailering view as well, and the ability to line up your trailer and your active trajectory. And then a 360-degree camera system that's going to be reserved for the higher end trims. There is also an electronic parking brake located right over there. Now, as far as the controls that are located right here, you do have another USB Type-C, standard USB 12-volt outlet, and then on this specific example, we have the household outlet. That's part of the Convenience 2 package. Of course, we got our trailer brake controller right here, and we do have a row of other buttons located right here. Now checking out the climate control, this obviously is the dual zone automatic setup. It does not come standard on the Trail Boss. You actually have a manual setup that comes standard, but this is optional. Obviously you've got 3 big knobs to control most of the functions, and then all the other things are located physically right here. We do also have the 3-stage seat heating, and of course in typical Chevy fashion, you can choose to heat your back and butt separately. Alright, so now that brings us up here to our audio system. Just like many of the things in this vehicle, you start out with the basic 6-speaker sound system. However, since this one here has about $10,000 of options, we do have the upgraded 7-speaker Bose sound system with a subwoofer. So let's go ahead and take a sample of that. Overall, sound quality definitely seems very strong and very bass heavy. Okay, so that brings us here to our Chevy Infotainment 3 system. What you're looking at is the 8-inch display. This is standard on the Trail Boss. And we do have the upgraded system, which I'll get into in just a second. We also have standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you will not find integrated navigation on this model. Now I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details about this system because we do have a dedicated tech help video available for those of you who want to learn more about it. A link to that detailed video is in the video description. Now moving on up here, we just have a manual dimming mirror. And you will also notice that here on this example, we actually are lacking a moonroof. That's a $995 option. So that would be an additional charge. Going back here, I do want to point out that we have HomeLink universal remotes, even though we don't have a auto dimming mirror. And you will notice this button here. This is not for the moonroof, obviously, since we're lacking it. This is for the optional power rear window. But anyways, guys, that is going to sum up the front areas of this Silverado Trail Boss. Now I'll go ahead and hand it off to my brother Mason, who will head out to the back areas.
Now turning and looking at the rear door trim of the Silverado Trail Boss, it is nicely designed, so you do have all this area with the stitching, as well as on the armrest, some more trim. And down below that, of course, this is a truck, so you do have a lot of door storage. Now here in the center, the Silverado does give you 2 cup holders up top, a little storage bin in between. And underneath of that, you will also find standard rear air vents on this model, as well as a regular charging USB, a USB Type-C, in addition to a 12-volt power outlet, which is actually standard equipment. And turning over, you do have a fold-down armrest. It does have cup holders inside, some more storage. And up top, you do have some headroom cutouts, your coat hook, and some LED lighting. Now, as far as the legroom is concerned, the Silverado Trail Boss is only available in the crew cab configuration, so that of course means that you are going to have a ton of space. The technical measurement comes in at 43.4 inches of rear legroom and 40 inches of rear headroom, which does place it on par with many in the class like the F-150. It's almost identical to that. However, it is a little bit behind the new Ram. But besides that, you know, in terms of space behind rear seating position, I have probably, I would say, at least a foot, if not more, of space between my knees and the seat back, and my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat. It's fantastically spacious back here. Now looking at the seats themselves, of course they are very utilitarian here in the Silverado. So behind the actual seat cushion itself, you do have the signature feature of a little bit of storage. So you just pull this little strap, and that does reveal actually a pretty decent amount of storage space. You could definitely hide a lot of stuff back there if you didn't want it seen. And of course you can also just lift the seat up, and then that will reveal even more storage spaces down here. So as you can see, it goes all the way across the floor. You could definitely fit a lot of stuff back here. And if you folded both seats up, you could definitely store something larger, maybe a lawnmower, bicycles, whatever you need back there, in case it's raining and you don't want to put it in the bed. And also, in addition to that, you can also fold the seats down like that. Looking at the passenger seat, it is manually adjusting even on this model. And in front of the passenger, you do have the signature 2-part opening glove box. So you have the little storage right up here, storage down below that. Definitely lots of storage spaces in the Silverado. And up top, you do have a sun visor with mirror. However, there is not lights on this model. Now it does also detach, as well as extend. But anyway, guys, that sums up all of the features of this Silverado Trail Boss. So now let's go ahead and take it out on the road and see how it drives compared to its competition.
So getting up to speed here in the 2020 Silverado Trail Boss. This is the 5.3 liter V8 and power. Definitely feels very good. Looking at 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. It definitely feels more than adequate for this type of truck. Makes good sounds too.
You would think it'd be almost a little bit sluggish, you know, with a giant truck like this. You know how giant this Trail Boss is. But, you know, taking off from, that was about, what, 0 to 60? Definitely did not have any issues. And this is the base engine.
That's right. Very important for 2020. You can now choose to get the 6.2 liter V8, which I know a lot of people would be interested in. That was previously reserved for just your high country, I believe. So now you can get that on this cool looking Trail Boss. 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. So some serious performance. We've driven it in the both the high country and Denali Sierra, and definitely
it's a great engine.
Definitely a great engine. Even more powerful than this, and even better sounds.
And now that we're just here at cruising speed, I do want to talk about this car's ride quality and overall just ride experience. This truck is very quiet. You know, one of the things that I'm noticing is that there's really not too much difference from this model to like the high country from what I remember. Really with these full-size Silverados, they all just ride really nicely. And you're going to have a lot of comfort, a lot of space, and also, you know, with the LT Trail Boss, I don't know if we mentioned it in the actual exterior portion, but it is raised 2 inches, and you can definitely feel that in your driving dynamic. What Drew had mentioned earlier was that it kind of feels like driving almost like the heavy-duty version.
Yeah,
you're so taller. Yeah, and so you are getting that extremely commanding presence here in this LT Trail Boss trim.
I'd have to drive them back to back just to know for sure, but I'm thinking that there's a little bit more tire noise on this just for having the off-road worthy tires. So let's go ahead and talk about the transmission situation. Now, this is one of the things that has changed for 2020, and that's that Chevy is now giving you the 10-speed automatic transmission paired with this 5.3-liter V8. Previously, you had the 8-speed automatic, but now in 2020, for just this Trail Boss, LT Trail Boss, and the High Country, those are the only two trims where the 10-speed will now be added with the 5.3-liter V8. The 10-speed automatic was already on the 6.2, so that does continue on for 2020. That being said, definitely a very smooth transmission as we've experienced in the past. It basically shifts. You can't tell at all. I mean, it's very, very smooth. No hesitation. Doesn't seem confused or anything like that. Now, I mean, will you notice a big difference from the 8-speed last year? I don't know. You have to drive them back to back, but nevertheless, definitely still good that you're getting the latest and greatest from Chevrolet here on the Trail Boss in 2020.
Now, also worth noting is that this Trail Boss trim is only available in 4-wheel drive. So that means the fuel economy for this trim level is going to come in at 16 city, 21 highway, 18 combined for the 5.3-liter engine, and the 6.2-liter has actually not been rated for this trim level, so I'll be curious to see how much of a drop that is. From what I remember, I don't think it's too big of a penalty.
I believe it's 1 combined.
Yeah, it's
a drop from like the RST with the same engine. So you might expect something similar with the Trail Boss equipment added to the 6.2. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention is just the steering setup here in the Silverado. I really like the way this is set up. It has a really pleasant combination of lightness, but also it responds accurately. There's no dead spots, and you do have a good sense of where the wheels are placed, which overall, like I said, is very important for a big truck like this. You know, that you have a sense of what's going on, while also still being light enough that it's easy to maneuver around at low speeds and whatnot. But all in all, the driving characteristics of this Trail Boss are very pleasant. Like Mason had hit on, there's really not a huge difference between this and the High Country, the RST, the other Silverados we've driven, and that's a good thing. It just has a pleasant driving dynamic. It's just easy to live with, even for someone who's used to driving a sedan like myself. And all in all, I think it definitely is a good overall package, being tough looking and tall, but still driving in a polite way.
Alrighty, and now that you've seen the attractive package that the Trail Boss has, let's go ahead and discuss the pricing of that model. So you can go for what we have here, which is the 5.3-liter LT, and that's going to start at $48,500. Now, newly offered is the 6.2-liter engine option, and that's going to be $50,995. And as with pretty much any truck, we do have quite a few options selected on this model. So we have the convenience package with bucket seats for $1,580, the convenience package 2 for $1,420. We also have the leather package for $985, the safety package 1 for $890, the black assist steps for $750, the bed protection package for $685, advanced trailering package for $490, and then when you add the destination charge of $1,595, you're going to come in at $56,895, which is a pretty good value for the Silverado lineup. It does pretty much situate it in the middle of the pack price-wise. You can definitely get some that are almost 70 grand, as well as cheaper ones, of course, since it is a available work truck.
Well guys, we've enjoyed watching the first in-depth look at the 2020 Chevy Silverado 1500 Trail Boss. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.